I'm Jan Johnson. The apostolic book I read is called Island Splashes by Sister Crystal Reese. I want to thank Brother Peyton for pointing me in the direction of this book. It was very beneficial to me. I found myself often in its pages and could relate to much of the struggles and much of the journey that Sister Crystal has experienced. Sister Crystal is a 2009 UGST graduate. She is an ordained UPCI minister and is currently the appointed missionary to the Kingdom of Tonga, which is an island nation in the South Pacific. This book is Sister Crystal's spiritual autobiography, or at least it had its roots in a UGST assignment very similar to what we just completed as well. This is about her journey into what all that she had to experience to be where she is today as that appointed minister to Tonga. This book talks a lot about splashes. That's the title of the book. And if you notice on the cover here, it's the image of a rock splashing into the water and leaving ripples behind. So the concept here is that God uses splashes to shape us, guide us, mold us, change us. And those are the people in our lives that come into our lives that teach us, that change us, that speak into our lives, that leave us changed. And the ripples are the effects of those changes that stay with us throughout our lives, that, some teaching or some impact that stays with us that ultimately becomes part of who we are and that we transmit to others as we work with them and be a Christian in their lives. I think about when I was a young Christian, when I was first in the church, the place where I sat kind of looked off to the right, and I kind of looked right past one of our minister's wives in the church, Sister Nan Paymer, and I watched for many years how Sister Nan worshipped, not just the style, but the fervency, the sincerity of love for Jesus. And I can remember being so impacted by that and thinking, I want to live my life that way. I want to worship with that sincerity. I want to love Jesus with that sincerity. And I have tried to follow that, and it forever impacted my life. And Sister Nan didn't even know she had splashed into my life in that way. But that's what this book is about, those splashes that other people bring into our lives. Sometimes those splashes are not so, most of the time they're positive. We want them to be positive. We hope they are. But sometimes they are not so positive. They may be some negative things that people say. Sister Crystal in the book talks about that there were a lot of people in her life as she walked that journey to realizing her calling and having that calling work out in her life. There were a lot of naysayers, people who did not believe that she was called to this and had some things to say that were not positive things. But that's part of the splashes that inform us. God takes those. The Bible says God uses all things together for good, and he takes those, even negative splashes, and helps them to transform us. And I think about how that's true in my life. I've had some negative things speak to me too, but that's okay. God has always taken all the negative splashes and transformed them into good in my life and in his kingdom. Sister Crystal talks also a lot about the walk of faith. It's so hard to always, she talks about how hard it is to walk the walk of faith, to live out in our lives what we believe and what we've learned, to always live that out. But we have to be faithful to God. She says that really the prerogative is in God's hands, what he chooses, and we need to be faithful to that and walk the walk of faith. In whatever we do, we have to be faithful. And she talks about being available. We just read about that too with Wholly Available and Gary Thomas, that we must be available in all we do. And I want to be that. I can't say I always am, but I want to be available. I want to pay attention to the doors that he opens. I want to walk through those doors. I want to be available in the church, available in the community, available at work and to my family and friends. I want to be available to God as he opens those doors. And it's a hard thing to do, but as you read this book, Sister Crystal talks about how she negotiated those things, and I want to negotiate those things as well. Sister Crystal ends her book, or toward the end of her book, she writes this: each splash, each ripple, each circle of influence is part of the overall journey, with the ultimate end being that everyone will be fitly joined together in God's perfect design. And, I want to experience those splashes, take those splashes in and be changed by them so that I too can be a part of God's perfect design. And I pray that you would be too, and that you would be blessed. Thank you so much. God bless you.